Hey guys, you're here if you have a number 4 on your paper. You did not authorize, and so I'm going to remind you of how we do that. So I just want to look at a real world example real quick. I was reading this article the other day and I noticed 3 different instances in here where the author actually authorized as they were citing their sources. So this one says, I look at my list of things I got to do. If it's make 10 phone calls, fill out 4 forms, notify 7 people. Says Val Montgomery, 45, who plans to run for Illinois State Representative next year. So we've got who it is, Val Montgomery, and we've got what she does, or what she, in this case, plans to do. So if I look at that authorization, that part where the author's pointing out her credibility, relates directly to the title here, right? These people are running for office, so that's why this authorizing was here. Same thing down here. We have another quote at the beginning. The conversation around sexual assault and violence against women puts some new energy into the movement, comma. Then we've got says Linda Sarcer, one of the national co-chairs of January's Women's March and the Women's Convention. But, quote, marching is just not enough. So in this one, they used context. The author used context to kind of tie the quote in to the sentence while also authorizing and saying what that woman does, what her role is in the movement. So that's all considered authorizing. And you can see it in a lot of different ways. It's not just in things like that. You could see it in an article about health. So for this one, 300 additional calories a day is quite serious, said Powell, professor of the Health Policy and Administration in the School of Public Health at the University of Illinois, Chicago. So you can see how these can even go kind of on and on and on if we let them or if you want them to. Same with this. We're delivering free content to consumers, says Mike Zanes, Vice President of Public Policy for the Interactive Advertising Bureau, a trade group of advertisers and publishers. So this one's really interesting because it has the who, right? It has what their job is or what they do. And then it said that he was the vice president of this group. And then it explained what that group is, or what that job was. So it's just an additional way to provide more information to your reader. So if we look back at our notes, really the second date there that I pointed out is probably your best bet. If you look at the 913, those are the notes called Know Your Source. And this is actually authorizing. I just didn't use that word yet in that time of the year. Be sure you state where your information came from. Usually, if it's someone the author wrote about, not the author himself. So a lot of times we see things like the text said or the author said. Well, if it came from someone else, tell me who that person is. We might remember some of these from earlier in the year, according to Jim Dunham, a Red Cross truck driver. Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Time Magazine author Alex Fitzpatrick. And these are just short ones. But remember, like the ones we just saw, they can get a lot more complex, especially if you start going into multiple things that you want to say about them. And then just as another quick reminder, remember we did this on January 23rd. We talked about authorizing, and then we found those examples in real world texts. We got out those magazines and we looked at them. So you have these notes in your notebook, and I'd like to see you authorize in the text that we did for the air test. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.